this video we're going to be discussing some phase 1 kind of training rehab for the spine. In particular, we're going to be talking about cervical and thoracic. So usually these are going to be places to really keep an eye on, especially if having any upper back, shoulder stuff. So hopefully you take a look at the other 2 phase 1 videos for the shoulder and the shoulder blade. But first, starting with the cervical spine, first thing we want to look at is the goal of phase 1 is here just to get full range of motion without any pain. So specifically this closing angle joint pain. So if I'm moving to this side, this is the closing side, this is the opening side. It's okay to feel stretch, maybe some pain, but the real thing that we're looking for is closing angle joint pain. So any pinching kind of pain on this inside, this closing angle side. So when we're looking at motion, especially for the spine, the real ones we want to be worried about, at least from the beginning, is this flexion and extension. So being able to look up at the ceiling and back down without any of that pinching pain. So that's kind of an initial one, and then checking with your controlled articular rotations, your CARs. So I'm going to be bringing my chin to my chest, picking a side, rubbing the chin on the collarbone, bending to the side, looking up over my shoulder, full range, looking up towards the ceiling, over to the other side, and back down. Again, looking for seeing if we have any closing angle joint pain. So if I'm going through any of this motion, kind of looking if I have pain. So first objective is there. If you don't have pain with any of those motions, then we can kind of go to the phase 2, trying to continue to open up space and build some resilience in the tissue. But for phase 1, we're looking at there. So in that case, if we do have closing angle joint pain, kind of 2 things we're going to start working on. Number 1 is continuing to move the neck through its current available range of motion. The big important one is not to move into pain. So if I'm moving in and have pain, pinching pain on this side, when I kind of back out with the neck, you can either go all the way around to that pinchy spot, or kind of just move around it. So jump a little bit and then continuing to access full range of motion in the neck. So kind of pop over that area. Continue to get this motion, keeping the motion that we have. The other part that we're going to do then is in that particular spot where you're having this pinching pain. I'm going to use an example in this lateral flexion, so moving, or even like at the angle. Oh, usually it's going to be somewhere around there. But say you're having it just straight lateral flexion. I have a pinching here. I'm going to start using my positional isometrics. So I find a little pinching pain. I'm going to back out right outside of that pinch, and then I'm going to do a positional isometric to the opposite direction of the pinch. So the stretch was this way. I'm going to use my hand to help do a positional isometric against the stretch. So I'm going to press against my hand, away from the stretch, a couple seconds, relax, and then move in, seeing if we can get a little more. Over time, it's going to continue to give you a little more, and you can compound that with my full CARs, moving through full range of motion. So as much as you can, trying to work that. The next part we're going to try to work on is the thoracic spine. So here, in this case, you probably aren't going to feel as much pain. This is probably going to be more on the shoulder, but it's good to keep an eye on. So especially people who have a lot of rib issues, it's good to continue to keep this range of motion, specifically in the thoracic spine. So a movement from here is going to be my my cat-cow. So I'm arching, curling in the whole spine. Just moving. And if I want to specifically hit my upper back, I'm going to kind of sit back on my heels. The hands are going to come in close together. This kind of locks up the scapula, and then I can kind of arch, curl from the upper back. So, I just go from the straight cat-cow. So say we are having pain, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to continue to move in our available range of motion. So say I hit a little pain when I'm coming up, I'm just going to go a little bit out from there. So only going in the range of motion that I can go. Okay. So the other part, the same as we were doing in the cervical spine, we're going to do some positional isometric. This one is a little bit more complicated. So if I'm feeling the pinch on the upside, my isometric is going to try to spread the ground and away from me. So I'm here, I'm arched. I'm going to try to spread my hands away and my knees away that way. At the same time, I'm going to try to arch, going in that cat position, or sorry, the cow position, the other way. At the same time, I'm pushing away with my hands and knees. So I'm here all the way. I'm going to start pushing as I try to bend down. What's happening is this spreading is going to create an isometric contraction. It's going to be hard for you, if you're doing this really hard, it's going to be hard for you to go into this cat position. So a couple seconds, we'll go all the way up, I'm going to start spreading, trying to arch, relax, see if we can open up a little more. That's for pain in this cat position. If I'm having it in the cow position, go as far as I can into the pain. We're going to back out a little bit, and now it's going to be the opposite. So instead of pushing away, I'm going to pull my hands and my knees closer together. So try to squeeze the ground in between as I try to arch now, going into that cat. That's creating isometric. Relax, seeing if I can get a little bit more range. I'm doing it from this general cat-cow position, but again, for the upper back, you can kind of sit back on the knees, hands in, and try it from there. One thing that we'll also be working on along with this general cat-cow position is segmentation. So for the spine, the lower and the upper, once I have good cat-cow, we want to build more control. So one of the things we're going to do here is try to segment. So I'm going to try to do this cat-cow position, but at one vertebra at a time. So starting from the neutral spine, I'm going to do the whole back. We're just going to start to arch. Working it all the way, walking it, and walking it towards the other direction. So trying to segment. So continuing on the work we were doing for phase 1 training of the spine, the next part is just this lower back, so the lumbar. So we're going to continue to work similar to what we were doing on the other video. So I'm gonna check if I have any pinching pain in my low back. For the low back, if I want to just concentrate there, I'm gonna come onto my head. Forearms on the ground, I'm gonna go around my upper back. So now I kind of block out the upper back. From here, you can just do general cat-cow or try to segment. Dealing with low back issues, it's going to be a good idea to check out the hip function and this SI joint function. So be sure to check the videos for that portion.